Welcome to Focus on the Five, conversations with Baldwin County business leaders and entrepreneurs, brought to you by Josh Knoll of Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. And now, Josh Knoll.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Focus on the Five. I am your host, Josh Knoll with Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. We are coming to you from the studios of WABF 1480 in beautiful downtown Fairhope. For those of you new to the show, Focus on the Five is conversations with Baldwin County area entrepreneurs, business owners, financial leaders, people that really have something going entrepreneurially in our county, especially along here on the Eastern Shore. Today, I get to be joined by who was my first guest on the very first show when we were still doing it with duct tape and baling wire, and Mr. Jason Will of JWRE Real Estate. How you doing today?
Josh, it's an honor to be here. I appreciate that, and I'm glad for the record that you just set it straight that I was your first guest.
You were the very first guest. It took us a while to edit the video because we went a little long.
Yeah.
Right? But now that we've kind of moved on up, like the Jeffersons here in the studio, I figured it'd be great to have all the help you've given me, you and Travis, on getting this show going. I thought it'd be appropriate to have you back on. So
yeah, this is big time, and I've really enjoyed, watching your growth with the social media and your digital marketing. It's really been impressive.
Well, you were the spark. Not to go too far down that rabbit hole, but I came to you with a business plan. You gave me the time of day, a marketing plan to give me the time of day, and you were really the spark for doing some of these things. You really gave me the guts. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here in this radio show. So thank you for that. So on that note, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into your business,
okay,
which has exploded here in Baldwin County and in other counties, other parts of the state.
Right.
And so first, let's talk about JWRE.
Okay.
Let's get a little bit of history of it. Let's talk about Jason Will. Where are you from, and what led to JWRE?
I am born and raised in Fairhope, Alabama. So, have lived here most of my life, kind of straight off to a couple places here and there, but have come back and been here as a full-time resident since 2007.
All right.
So spent a little time in Tampa, Florida, but Fairhope is home, and started my real estate career with Keller Williams.
Right.
And was there for about a decade, and was fired. And if they want to go into the details, I guess they could go back to the first show, but was released from Keller Williams, and that was really the catalyst that led to JWRE.
Okay.
It was a bad breakup, and there was a lot of rumors swirling around about me, so nobody in town would hire me. And I had to go to my stepdad, who was had his own real estate company in Bayman. It's a small little thing. He's nearing retirement, and was going to be passing the torch down to his current broker. And just that kind of sped up the process because I just had no choice, and thank God he agreed to do this for me because he's in politics, and there was a lot of rumors swirling around me, and so he just my mom probably gave him no choice.
Well, a lot of people that have watched your journey have followed you through various social media platforms, YouTube, things like that, right? So I'm assuming back when the Keller Williams split, the rumors and all the things you were talking about, this would have predated your social media presence. Is that a fair statement before you really come on the scene?
Yeah, well, I had a flip video camera. I don't know if people out there remember this, but
right.
I had a flip camera, and I would shoot. I started my YouTube channel in 2010.
Okay.
So I'd go to a subdivision, I'd stand by the entrance, or I'd stand in front of a model home, a D.R. Horton home or something, and I would, I'd press record, then I'd run in front of the camera, and then I'd run back around and, press it to stop, and then edit all that stuff out. So I had those type of videos, but it was just real estate, me talking about properties and things like that. So
doing the standard open house thing.
Yeah.
And those we actually still have our flip camera. The screen on it is microscopic. There's no way these 40-some-year-old eyes could see it anymore. So I can imagine trying to edit on that.
It was the easiest thing. A lot of folks are just overwhelmed by the fact of like iMovie app and all that stuff. Right. So Flip was so easy. It had its own editing software. It was so easy. When they stopped making it, I was devastated.
You had to move to the.
But I had to grow up and move to iMovie.
Well, so you JWRE, which originally was Jason Will Real Estate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Started out as kind of a team, I would think.
It was 4 of us. We had, it was my wife and I, and we had 2 agents that came from Keller Williams and joined us.
Okay.
It's kind of like the Jerry Maguire thing,
Yeah.
like who's coming with me?
So did you grab the fish tank?
Yeah, we didn't have that, but I,
And one hand rose, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else looked at you like you're nuts.
yeah.
Right.
So it was very similar to that. And we just started growing very, very quickly. And then, people started using, the JWRE kind of acronym everywhere. And we were like, well, it just kind of happened organically. And the other thing that was kind of going on with that is that some agents didn't want to compete with my name. So, we
Right.
just, the evolution of JWRE was very natural there.
Right. So, especially nowadays, people do a lot of personal branding.
Right.
They probably felt, coming in with an actual person's first and last name on there. So, I applaud you on the JWRE. As you and I talked, one of the reasons that I went Gulf Coast Financial Advisors was to get my name out of the title of the company.
Right.
Plus, my last name is Knoll, which is not a great name for financial.
Right.
So, so JWRE, you started with 4 people. You started here in Fairhope. Those 2 people outside of your wife and you still with you?
They are. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. The original 4 are still together.
Okay, and so for the listener that doesn't know your story very well, or maybe doesn't know you at all, how many agents roughly now in the Fairhope office?
Well, we've got about 65 in the Fairhope office, and then all total we have a little over 100. We had an office in Birmingham. We did shut that one down at the beginning of the year. Okay. So we are just Coastal Alabama Real Estate Company at this point. That was too far and too many bad hires later, but it's one of those things where it's really good for you, I think, sometimes to fail.
You got to stretch.
Yeah.
If you don't stretch, you don't know where your limits are.
Yeah.
And
I found my limits there. I mean, the older I'm getting, the more of a homebody I'm becoming.
Sure.
And I just, instead of just running the roads, I'd rather be with my family. So.
Well, but you have office in Mobile,
Fairhope, and Orange Beach.
And between the 3 of those, you got about 100 agents.
Yep.
So, as JWRE has grown, you have obviously seen significant changes with not just Fairhope, where we're filming right now, but with the Eastern Shore, with Baldwin County, with Mobile to a certain degree. You've seen changes with the construction market, the housing market, the real estate market. Let's talk about Fairhope and the Eastern Shore, which I think the majority of listeners here would be located. What are the biggest changes you've seen over the last 5-10 years in this area when it comes to real estate?
I mean, it's been incredible.
Right.
I mean, just the growth has been phenomenal. And I'm a supporter of the growth. I know, it's got a lot of people freaked out.
Sure.
But it's just natural. I mean, when you have a town that's this beautiful and has this much to offer, you're not going to be able to keep it a secret forever.
Right.
But when I was growing up in Fairhope, there weren't a whole lot of places to eat. And then when a good place would come, it wouldn't stay open very long.
Right.
So, I just love the fact that we have, restaurants that are really good and they can stay open.
Right.
And, just because that comes with the growth. In terms of the real estate market, there were some pockets in Fairhope that got really, really hit hard by the Great Recession.
Okay.
So, and there's still some of those sellers are still fighting to recoup that value, and some of them probably never will.
You're referring to folks that bought at the height of the construction boom toward, let's say, 06, 07-ish, and then obviously 2008, 2009, things cratered. And then another event happened, 2010, 11, that you were trying to get your business going. We've talked about that before. You had the hurricane hit.
Yeah,
right?
we had the oil spill.
An oil spill.
That was really a scarier time for me than the crash of 2008 because the phone just stopped ringing. I mean, people were scared to death. During, 08, 09, 2010, their first-time home buyers were going nuts, and in foreclosures, investors, and all that stuff.
Right.
They were still very, very active, but there was a good solid 2 months when the oil spill hit that my phone just did not ring at all.
Right.
And nobody we had people. I had an incredible listing on the golf course in Lake Forest, and I had a couple from out of town. I can't remember for the life of me. This is so long ago where they were coming from, but they thought that from what they were seeing on the news, wherever they were, like Michigan or something, that oil was going to come all the way into the bay,
Right.
and just cover the entire area with oil.
Right.
So they were just like, we're not coming to Alabama anymore.
Right.
So it was a scary, scary time.
Well, my dad, as you and I have talked, I was in real estate and construction back late 1990s and early 2000s. And about 2006, my dad was with me one day, and he was visiting, and my phone was just nonstop all day long. I mean, it was exhausting. And I think at the end of the day, I had made or taken somewhere in the neighborhood a couple hundred calls. And I get done, and I was like, golly, Dad, you see what I got to deal with every day? And he said some of the most profound thing stays with me to this day. He said, son, I'd be worried when that phone quits ringing.
Yeah.
And so you went through that. So
scared to death.
Right.
But the other thing that's really important, I think, for people that are moving to this area, or even the current residents, is that under 250,000, good luck in Fairhope.
Right.
And that's been probably one of the biggest changes, because where we're at right now in the Bluff area, in the Fruit and Nut District, real estate's always been high. It's always going to be high. Now,
always desirable.
Depending on when people bought,
Right.
some of these people may never reach that, that pinnacle. But what I look at is, like, if you just want to move here and buy your first house, or you live here and you want to buy your first house, it's really, really tough. You're going to have slim pickings. The days of finding a pretty good deal at 150,000 are really few and far between.
Right. Well, all right. So let's talk about that then. I'm sure you get the question: is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? What opinion do you have for, let's say, Fairhope and Eastern Shore in general?
I always think it's a good time to do both.
Okay.
But I'm biased. I'm in the business. I need these transactions to pay my bills. But, seriously, the interest rates, there is some volatility there.
Right.
So I think people need to be mindful of that. And they're going to go up in 2019.
Right.
And when they dip back down, they were getting at near the 5.5% range. People are like, oh, the next step is 6. Then they drop back down below 5 a little bit. And so, I think if you're gonna buy, you need to buy.
Right.
I think 2019 is going to be a strong year. We have a lot of the bigger cities around us. Some of those cities are starting to get a little soft, and they're starting to see a little shift in the market.
Okay.
With Baldwin County being one of the top counties in the state, and Fairhope being one of the fastest growing cities in the state, I think 2019 is going to be a really, really strong year
in the nation. I mean, we've traveled a lot. We've lived different places. When areas get momentum, usually the momentum actually grows a little exponentially. So the question just becomes then, how do you handle the growth? Where do you put everybody, right?
Right.
So
in terms of selling, though, just a quick point is, a lot of people feel like the holidays and this time of year, the winter time,
pre-Mardi Gras.
Yeah, they're like, this is a terrible time to sell. And there couldn't be really anything further from the truth. There's way more, everybody's waiting for, March and April.
Right.
So I just don't understand this mindset of, hey, let's wait until April's the hottest selling month of the year.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. It doesn't mean that things don't sell in the other months. And I would much rather have less competition than more competition.
Right.
So it makes sense to
That's
me.
a fair point. Are you one of 20 listings coming on at a day, or are you one of 100?
Right. And
right?
Typically the lulls in the sales during, these holiday and winter months is because the inventory is lower. Because literally, I can't tell you how many conversations we're having right now. They're like, oh, yeah, I want to sell, but I'm just waiting until spring.
Right.
And to me, that there just couldn't be a bigger mistake.
Right. I hear you on that. All right. So what specific areas here in Fairhope have you feel like have changed the most since growing up, or especially over the last 5-10 years? When people, we're part of the people that listen to WABF 1480 only know of Fairhope out of a magazine or from paying attention on websites and things like that. What's some piece of advice you got somebody wanting to move in here, maybe retire? What are some areas that really have popped over the last several years, or maybe historically have always been strong? I know Fruit and Nut.
Yeah. Well, we're having in Baldwin County is in the top 5 in terms of, new construction markets. It's about 25 to 30% of the market right now.
Right.
So, and that's really going to be where the affordability is in these new construction homes with Trulin, D.R. Horton, and these kind of mass production builders.
Right.
That's really where the affordability is, and a lot of times we have this kind of a synergy approach to open houses. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of them on the weekends. we try to do my team especially tries to do anywhere from 5 to 10 a weekend and do them in a large radius, because people come here and they go to the fruit nut and they just fall in love with the house, and then you tell them it's 600,000,
725,000, 3
and they're
bedroom.
like, oh yeah, it's 1,400 square feet, and there's a bathroom from 1900 or something. So we direct them. We go, okay, let's just talk about what you're looking for, and then we direct them out into the suburbs. But I think the people that are born and raised here like me would just are shocked when they see all the subdivisions that are popping up, all the new construction subdivisions that are popping up. To me, that's the biggest thing. The other thing that's happening in the fruit and nut is that land is becoming,
more valuable than the structure on it.
It's incredible.
Tear downs.
There have been, homes very, very close to where I live in the fruit and nut that are just being leveled and sold for the dirt because, they tried to sell the home for 2 years and it's a tear down. So they just come through and level it, and they can sell it very, very quickly. So you're looking at, most of the lots in the fruit nut are like 66 by 130 feet, something like that. It's base price $350,000. So
I've seen it before.
People are shocked at that, and the tearing down of the houses and dirt becoming such an evaporating commodity. There's just only so many lots left in the fruit nut, and I think that's shocking to a lot of people.
But on the flip side of that, like you and I know, we have people moving here from big cities. And they come in, and that's not they were making that payment on a 2-bedroom apartment in a big city. So it's all relative, I think, to certain things on that. So, and
the same thing with insurance too, because a lot of times in those big cities they're paying just outrageous property taxes.
Right, that's true.
And it really it's a wash with the insurance.
Oh, we were absolutely shocked. Moving down from Kansas City several years ago, probably half to a third of the property tax burden down here, compared to what we had. All right, so as you were one of the sparks for this show, so you know very well what I'm about to say. The focus on the 5, one of the points was let business owners, a lot of times when you do marketing, you come on and you feel like there's pressure to say the perfect thing in 60 seconds or less, right? And I've done it and you've done it. The purpose of the show, one of the points of it, was allow a business owner like you to come on and basically talk about your business and yourself in a free, no boundaries, right? So I want to give you an opportunity, because I think I know, but I don't want to speak for you, what sets JWRE apart from the other real estate firms in the area. What would you say, what makes you all different? Because I have my opinion. I want to see if it matches.
Yeah, so the big thing that I think sets us apart is our training and our culture. And it's really a culture of productivity and a culture of collaboration. And that's really how we have grown. So we've taken that culture and that collaboration and just that supportive, mindset where it's not just kind of all about my business. It's not about me. It's about we.
Right.
And we have taken that to social media.
Right.
And then it's just exploded. So you just put out, if you've got an amazing culture and you put that out on the social media airwaves, really the recruiting just happens organically.
Right.
And, we've got a lot of, there are several brokers that are in walking distance to this station right now that would just tell you, they wouldn't hide the fact that they're not really, maybe they're not set up, or they're not interested, or they just don't have a training program for new agents. They would readily admit this, that if you're a new agent in the business, they are more for seasoned, agents.
Right.
Agents that have been in the business 10, 15, 20 years. And, some of I would say a vast majority of the agents that we have got turned away from other places.
Understood. Okay.
And you just kind of, that combined with, people just going, man, I like your vibe.
Right.
It looks like we really do have a family atmosphere at JWRE, and it's amazing.
Well, and I think that when it comes to, as you and I talked before, you came on my radar. I wasn't looking for a real estate agent or a company or anything like that. What caught me was the marketing, and top of mind marketing. Well, you were in my face every single day.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, I got to figure out what this guy's got going on. So I can imagine somebody in the industry getting interested like that, and also potentially people that are looking at homes, buying or selling. If they are active with video, with social media, with YouTube, with basically the things that a lot of people are nowadays, you're probably going to pop up pretty quick in their line of sight, I would think.
I do. Yep.
Right. So,
Yep.
well, all right. So,
Where were you thinking? What was did our views match?
I was thinking, yeah.
It's interesting to see what the outsider's view is of the company. So
I was thinking that because you are willing to take, here's one really big thing I learned from you for marketing. If you rewind the tape on your marketing and you look at the stuff you did in the first handful of years, and I mean this is no offense, but there's a lot of seams in it. There's a lot of duct tape. There's a lot of baling wire. There's a lot of bloody noses and black eyes and trips and falls, right, to get it right. And what you see now is you were like the musician that was willing to learn, and he learned actually how to play to where people really want to actually hear him play versus somebody just getting artificially popped up. And eventually you see that, the emperor has no clothes.
Right.
So for me, it was the fact that you had built over this years, you had taken the time to build this foundation of real authentic market. What worked, you took things, well, this doesn't work. Wad it up, throw it out. Well, this does. We're going to double down on this, right? And I think that what really set it apart over time is you've got you've almost got this machine that feeds itself to a certain degree to where this stuff just starts duplicating stuff organically. And there's just really nobody that is in that space, or if they are, they're far behind. And I mean, there's no offense to other realtors listening, or you can tell that they're trying to gloss their way to that level. And there's just no way you can't spit shine your way to this thing. You've got to get in there and get your hands dirty.
yeah, so I that just kind of clarified a valid point. So if you're the consumer, we're known for marketing.
Right.
If you're the agent, we're known for our culture, training, and collaboration. But if you combine those two, so I've really tried everything. I've tested everything. And what people are surprised to learn is that when you come into our brokerage, there's no secrets. I tell you everything.
Right.
I say this works, this doesn't work. And so that's how, you've got these people underneath me that are just duplicating what I've been doing. And then it's like, gosh, they're everywhere.
Right.
And that's how,
right. It feels like I had a friend that has been paying attention to the market we've been doing. He's like, I feel like you work all the time, but I know you don't.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I said, I know it looks like I'm really, I mean, I'm busy, but
yeah.
I'm not shooting that video at midnight on Tuesday. That's stuff I've done over the course of a normal workday.
Right.
So yeah, I think that absolutely resonates. It's been a huge help for us to have the guts to go out there and do things and not be afraid to stub our toes. Right. So, all right, let's talk about for folks that let's do two things here. One, you got an agent that maybe is frustrated at another shop or maybe is moving to town, maybe looking for a change. How do they get a hold of you? What's a good event for them maybe to attend to get a taste of the JWRE culture?
Well, we have weekly power lunches here in Fairhope every Thursday. It starts at noon. They're sponsored by a local vendor, so lunch is provided.
Okay.
And that's just the best thing to do. It's powerful for an agent to come into our office and, number one, just see how many people come.
Right.
They're like, wow. Because if you go into other offices, the training rooms are not nearly as full as ours.
Right.
The participation is not even close. So it's the buy-in that they see. They're like, wow, these agents are really busy. They take time out to come together, break bread, absorb some information, network a little bit, and then they go back to doing their work. So I think that's the best way for them to, number one, kind of get experience the caliber of the information that's offered. Mm-hmm. But also, because if you sit down, people are going to start engaging with them right away. Who are you? Who are you with? Got any questions? Let me know. I mean, and that's just the kind of thing that just they don't experience that at other places.
Well, and I've gone to your lunches. It doesn't have to be necessarily a real estate agent that goes.
That's right.
And there was no pressure for me to sign anything or put my name down or, I didn't get put on a hit list and get all this stuff sent at me.
Right.
Got free food, which was great.
And it, to me, it's stressful. It if I think about all the agents that could have grown their business exponentially by coming to these lunches, but don't because they think that it's a recruiting event. And, it is a recruiting event. Right. But like you said, you're not
hitting them in the face with it.
Right. Yep. When I put it on Facebook, that is for recruiting purposes. But while you're there, it's all about you and learning.
Right.
And your experience there and what you take away and what questions you have and how we can help you move the sales needle. And we never contact anybody after the fact other than to say, thank you so much for coming.
Right.
You're welcome to come back anytime.
Well, and I'll give you this piece too, because you and I both have been new salespeople in different industries, but the same thing applies. A guy that trained me, he said, you've got an emotional fuel tank. And every day you go out when you're new, that fuel tank's going to get drained down and drained down and drained down and drained down. And he said, if you're doing your job, by the end of the day, you're on empty. He said, but make sure you're doing things throughout the day that are filling that tank up a little bit. And he said, one of the things you can do is be around other people and learn things. So I think part of what you're doing with your agents is helping them refill their emotional fuel tank. Because in our, real estate agent, financial advisors, people in sales, it can be pretty lonely.
Right.
I mean, you can really feel like you're an island sometimes. So if you've got people that you're sharing the journey with, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and one of the things we tell people when they come in is that, we're going to pour into you.
Right.
As long as you do what we ask you to do. So if I spend 2 weeks with you as a new agent, and then week 3 and 4 you have made zero progress from when you started, you might get left behind. But as long as you do the things we're telling you to do, and you're putting forth an effort,
Right.
We really have a no agent left behind mantra.
Perfect.
But I'm going to expect you to pay it forward, because somebody's going to walk into the door with the deer in headlights look just like you had when you started, and you need to have that empathy and go right to them and go, hey, how can I help you?
Right. And let them know, hey, I've been through this before.
Yeah.
I've been where you're at right now, where everything is totally overwhelming. All right. So on the flip side of that, somebody in this area is wanting to maybe list a property or buy a property. I'm a big believer in explaining where I'm at in the community. We are obviously in the middle of downtown Fairhope. Where do they find JWRE? What's the process for contacting you all to maybe do some real estate business?
Just calling our office number. They can go online, but our office number is 251-929-4444. We have an agent on duty Monday through Friday, so every day during the week. So they can pop in, and there'll be an agent on duty there to serve them. If they want to use my real estate team, it's the #1 team in the county. So if they're looking for somebody with a track record, experience, and really has the data to kind of back it up, and they can reach our team. It's 866-6464.
Okay.
I still do list properties, but it's a very minimal amount.
Okay.
I've got other things that I'm doing. I'm about to launch a coaching business and an event business. So I've just...
You say you personally.
Me personally, yeah.
I would imagine you're pulled other directions at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm really getting into the training of agents is where,
Right.
kind of my passion is these days.
Oh, absolutely. Your office in Fairhope's located at North Section. What's that address?
Yeah, it's 154 North Section. So we're just across the street from the convention center, the police station, the mayor's office. We're just right across the street from
Beautifully redone 2-story building.
You cannot miss it.
All right.
2-story on the left as soon as you drive into town.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
What was in there originally? Do you know?
It was an old bike shop.
Was it really?
Yeah.
It was. It's a beautiful building. You all done a great job.
Yeah, it sat empty and vacant for the longest time. So we get compliments on it constantly.
Well, I will say this, as we start to wrap up the show, if you're in the business of real estate, or if you want to keep a finger on the pulse around this area of real estate, make sure you follow Jason on the various platforms that he's on. Obviously Facebook, YouTube, Instagram to a certain degree, even LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Which you and I both been surprised at the usefulness of that, I would say.
Right.
Twitter too. So definitely follow. I'd say probably the easiest way for someone to get acclimated to you would be Facebook. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm really pretty easy to find. You don't have to look that hard.
Yeah. Just Google Jason Will, and
it happens.
And then ignore half of what you see. All right. So again, Jason Will of JWR Real Estate, based here in Fairhope, also Mobile, and the other office is in
Orange Beach.
Okay,
Yep.
You got the contact info there. My name is Josh Knoll. I'm with Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. I am not a radio host.
Not yet, anyway.
No.
Who knows what's going to happen?
I do this because my line of work is really dull, and this is one of the fun things I get to do. And look at the relationship we have formed over doing these things. I mean, I know more about you than some of my groomsmen at this point. So it's worked out.
This is so much fun. I mean, I could literally do this all day long.
Oh yeah, that's what I told Lori.
Yeah.
You could literally do this all day long.
Yeah, literally.
All right, so we'll put this out there. If you are a business owner or entrepreneur here in Baldwin County and would like to join us for a conversation like this, reach out to us. My contact info will be at the end of the show in my incredibly too long disclosure that has to be on everything I do, even though we had zero talk about what I do. Right, that's how it goes. Again, I want to thank Mr. Jason Will. Travis Middleton is behind the camera there. I am Josh Knoll. This has been Focus on the Five, and I appreciate y'all. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Focus on the Five. If you are interested in learning more about Josh Knoll and Gulf Coast Financial Advisors, you can find us at gulfcoastfa.com, call 251-327-2124, email josh.knoll@gulfcoastfa.com, or message us on Facebook. Focus on the Five is produced by Josh Knoll of Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. Advisory services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Inc., a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Pro Equities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Gulf Coast Financial Advisors is independent of Pro Equities Inc. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. Focus on the Five offers commentary and generalized research, not personalized investment advice. Show content is for informational purposes only and does not constitute a complete description of our investment services or performance. All investments involve risk and unless otherwise stated are not guaranteed. Be sure to consult a tax professional before implementing any investment strategy.